Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the game that I am the most excited about for Retrothon. And forgive my excitement, I'm going to try not to hype it up too much, but this is Pac-Land on the TurboGrafx-16. Pac-Land was originally an arcade game, and if you ever went into the arcades in the late 80s and early 90s, you probably or may have seen this game in the arcade. It's I would have never known about this game if it weren't for Evan. Evan recommend. What did you? I think you just randomly threw this out there during a stream one night. I can't thank you enough. What is your connection to this game?
So this is one of the games I had as a kid for the TurboGrafx-16, and I loved it. And part of the reason I loved it is the amazing control scheme that it has. So the way it works is you actually run. So if you have an NES controller, since not everyone's seen a TurboGrafx.
Real quick, I'm gonna start it up right now. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Go for it, Evan.
All right. So to run, you actually run with your A and B buttons, and you jump with the up button, which is like the exact opposite of what you would normally do on any other game. Yes, this is a Smash Brothers stage. So if you've played Smash Brothers Ultimate, this is a stage in there. I can't hear the stream audio, and this is the one time I'm really sad I can't hear the stream audio because I love this song. Matt hates this song.
So after you've put in about 500 attempts on this game, this song makes me want to throw the game through a window. But the game itself is fantastic.
Saw the swag slide there.
The thing I love about this game is it's really like pure platforming. Literally all you're doing is running to the right and running to the left and jumping at the right time. The thing that makes this game so awesome, in my opinion, is that basically all of the enemy movements are RNG. The patterns are always different every single time you play this game. So is that the church from Splatterhouse? Yes, it is, Enemy. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, all of these games exist in the same universe.
TurboGrafx-16 is its own universe, so that is absolutely true. So the challenge really becomes in this game is knowing the mechanics well enough that you can accommodate and adjust for the RNG patterns with the enemies. Both Namco games, that's very true, Enemy. They have to exist in the same universe.
So Cleric asked, what other systems this is available on? This is available on the NES.
Oh, poop.
Did you die?
I just did. On the easiest. I turned back when I shouldn't have.
So NES, ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, X68000, the Atari Lynx. Trying to think what else. The TurboGrafx-16, the Commodore 64. There's a bunch of different versions. This and the Lynx are probably the two closest arcade ports. The only thing that this is missing actually from the arcade is it doesn't have parallax background scrolling.
Smitty, I would love to show you the chair, but it's there is no chair in this game, and so. Anywho, for those of you who hang out in the chat, you'll recognize the chair reference. But so on the way back, as we're going back to the left, so after you've done 3 stages to the right, you'll do 1 stage to the left. You get these magic boots, and if you've ever played Super Mario World, the jumping mechanic feels very much like using the cape in Super Mario World, and it's definitely a different and unique way to play through the stage. It actually makes it super fun and interesting. Once again, these enemies, they mostly appear in the same place, but the patterns they take are really random and different. So that's what kind of makes it a little bit more challenging, a little more different. The category that we're playing right now is called 4 trips, and the game actually has 8 trips consisting of 4 rounds each. So that's why there's 32 rounds in the entire game, 8 trips. The only category that people run is 4 trips, and that's why I'm showing this off here. The last 4 trips, and I think one of the reasons that nobody runs all 8 trips they get increasingly more difficult. Both of my playthroughs of this game have taken upwards of about 50 minutes because there's so much randomness and challenge in the last 4 trips, specifically the last 2 trips, because 7 and 8 are really tough. Oh, we got good RNG there from Blue. Blue can kill you at any moment, so nicely it doesn't.
So this is on the 68,000 enemy. I'm actually considering this summer attempting to set the world record on every version of this game.
Do it! There's actually some interesting things you can do on some of the different ports. Like, so the NES actually has warps in it. The stages are roughly the same, but the NES port has some warps you can do and some fun exploits that you can get into, especially for speedrunning strats. So if you get a chance and you want to watch some interesting ways, the Nintendo, I'm sorry, I can't remember the person's name, but the person who runs this game on Nintendo gets all the warps, and it's a really interesting run.
Yeah.
Kind of different from this one. Oh, God, I thought I could make it. Dang it!
So when he's jumping off the springboards there, you actually have to change controls. You then let go of the run button, hold the jump button, so the up button, and then mash the run button to stay in the air. It's bizarre, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. So if you're wondering where this game came from, it's actually based on a cartoon. And the music that you continually hear in the city section of this is the actual theme from the cartoon.
Okay, this is my only besides the soundtrack in this game, my only other quip is that Pac-Man can't swim, which, in my opinion, is absolutely ridiculous. Pac-Man is a super-duper superhero, and the fact that he can't swim just seems really questionable to me. Like, his one kryptonite is water? Come on now. I just have... there's some... I don't know. That seems like they might have just modified this for gameplay. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, also, he's a sphere. Aren't spheres normally a buoyant shape?
Exactly. The dude should totally be buoyant. Look at him. If this guy can't float, I don't know. I'm just definitely have some issues with that. Oh, right. Well, that was kind of my fault. I don't know. Took one to the face there, though. That happens quite a bit.
Well, you're the one holding the controller, so I would say yes, it is your fault.
Well, there are times in this game where you're put in situations that you almost cannot get out of, which is hence the fun RNG element to the game. Okay, here we go. And we get our first cutscene of the game. Pac-Boy. I've never heard of Pac-Boy. Pac-Man is a descendant of the aliens from Signs. You know what, Dog Developer? That's actually... I might buy into that conspiracy theory. There's our first cutscene. Look at the bush. Look at the bush. Somebody's looking at you.
That's the bush is looking at him.
I'm just saying. How come the bush has eyes in that part, but not this part? Once again, the world of Pac-Man. There's some questionableness stuff going on.
It actually makes me ask the question: if plants are sentient, are they just watching us all the time through the window?
Yeah. And apparently they are sentient in this game. Okay, so you have to be a little bit careful with some of the jumps here. So you'll notice that I'm avoiding all the pack pellets except for that one. The reason I avoid the pack pellets is because when you actually hit an enemy after getting a pack pellet, it does a pause animation. Literally the whole game stops for a second or two. And that's, when you're doing a speed run, you obviously want to avoid those kind of things. I would also, oh geez, that was, woo! The pack pellets in my opinion, are a little bit trolly in this game too. They quite often show up at the end of a tough part of the level, as you'll see in this stage right here.
Yeah, they show up, and if you grab them, there's still no enemies for the rest of the level. You actually have to turn around to go eat enemies.
See, there's the pack belt there. No more enemies. Oh, we got one. That guy was random. I've never seen that one there before.
Yeah, the enemies in this game, the jumps and the movements they make once you see them, you can predict them. But until they spawn, you don't know what they're going to do. So it's a little bit trouble.
Okay, so Claire in the chat just said that Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man. Is that a real thing? That's interesting if it is. Or it's a good joke too if it's not. But I mean, either way, that's super interesting.
It may have been a play on words. I know he's named Pac-Man because Paku Paku is like eating in Japanese, I believe. This may be like when I did the Bonk's Revenge commentary and said that Chikun means eggs when it really means chicken.
See, we just make up stuff here. It's so much easier just to make up your own lore than to actually. So, okay, well there you go. The chat is confirming.
Yeah, So apparently,
good.
Puckman is too similar to another word that.
Oh yeah.
Puck.
Oh man. Well, let's okay. RNG enemies here. Cool. So we were talking about this last night, and I've been asked what is the lore for Pac-Land, and as Evan mentioned, it was a Saturday morning cartoon, and I assume that there's some sort of storyline from that cartoon that plays over to the game. Evan, is there any truth to that?
So I believe what you're doing is
take it. Wrong button. Sorry.
You're actually carrying these fairies back to the mother fairy or whatever, and you keep them in your hat, and that's why between stages the hat lifts up, the fairy flies around and gives you points. All right, we're on to the final trip. The final trip actually introduces one of the cooler levels of the game, which is the maze.
So, for the most part, when I was running this game more consistently, this became the run killer of the game, because you'll notice I'm touching these fire hydrants on a specific way. I want them to shoot the water to the left, because when they shoot it to the right, it becomes it pushes you forward, usually right into enemies that you don't want to bump into. We're having some RNG issues, so those guys just appear wherever they want to. This is gonna, see, that's what happens. I'm gonna try to avoid a continue here. Okay, that was good. Oh, we're just taking this for safety. Oh, look at this. Lightspeeder actually watched the show. The ghost monsters were led by some sort of overlord type character. There was an overlord in this game? What? What is that all about?
It does make sense, because it's never made sense why the ghosts hate Pac-Man so much. So, are they the fallen, or are they his fallen enemies that come back to haunt him?
Once again, I think we just make up stuff up. I think that'd be a lot easier than actually figuring out the lore. So this is there's actually a couple more maze stages later on in the game that we won't see in this speedrun. But you can actually clip some of these walls, but I've never had really good consistency doing it, nor does it really save a whole lot of time. You can through that part of the level. And it's one of the few times you actually get a different soundtrack there. It's kind of nice, so...
Cleric, the RNG can absolutely be horrifically mean. Occasionally you'll get trapped between 3 ghosts, and there's just nothing you can do. You just have to take the death.
Oh no, I gotta see continue screen now. Sorry. So one of the things, a nice thing about this game, that if you die and you continue, you always continue back from the same checkpoint, so... Hello.
But you do get to watch him put in his high score.
And let's try this again. Here it is. Round 15, one more time.
Let's not jump directly in the water.
Yeah. Once again, no buoyancy to Pac-Man.
There are also some weird... when you die occasionally in this game, it will actually jump you forward in the level. It's not typically faster, and we haven't done a lot of checking, but it definitely does not seem like you end up with...
Enemy knows that I really want to use a language command right now. So, if you ever hang out in my chat, I really try hard not to use bad words, but it's playing this game.
Come into his chat sometime, and if you just type !language, it'll pick a random one, and you'll get a clip of Matt using a lot of foul language.
The only time that I will drop F-bombs on stream is during playing this game. I kid you not.
That's not true.
We
have language commands for almost every game that he plays.
Exactly. Potty mouth for special occasions.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. So we're back to the flying part. You have to do this here to avoid that guy. And we're coming up, thankfully. At this point. Oh, son of a... Okay, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. But, I just figured I'd fly into a random enemy. Face plant a random enemy. As much as I possibly can.
I've definitely... thought about this game and thought there must be a perfect set of RNG that you can get.
Why did I jump?
And then I wondered if you have maybe gotten that perfect RNG and then thrown it away by jumping in the water.
Okay, so 12 minutes 49 seconds. Not terrible. Actually, that's pretty terrible. What am I talking about? But that's the end of the run. Very simple. You get a nice little cutscene. So, as I mentioned, the game actually has 8 trips. So you'll see at this point that the game continues on. Trip 5. For those of you that ever take this on casually, Trip 5 and beyond are not for the faint at heart. So if you do decide to pick this game up casually, beware that the next few trips are not going to be easy. It makes the game incredibly more challenging. But that is Pac-Land. 4 trips, 16 rounds, and a lot of death with a continue, even that. So we're going to take another quick break while we switch over games, and we'll be right back.